What is up, peeps and gamers? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the Respawn Recap. Been a wild week. You ready to break it down for him?
I guess so.
Guess so too. Hope you all enjoy. And certainly one of the bigger ones out there, yes, North America, we reigned supreme for a short period of time in a rising esport known as Valorant. Iceland was tremendous for personalities out there, a lot of outspoken characters getting a lot of camera time, and of course, the flawless run from Sentinels is the tip of the top when it comes time for North America finally being on top for an esport, which was great to see.
We were talking about it a little bit last week when, North America was performing pretty well. We had a few wins with Sentinels and V1, and we were feeling pretty good. Like, people were already hyped, like, yes, we won some games, finally. And, like, that was all it took. But then thank whoever you want to thank that Sentinels did end up winning, because I don't know what we would have gotten trash talked to the ends of the earth and it didn't win.
Literally all it took for North America, ourselves included, was winning the first series.
Right.
It was Sentinels and V1 who win their opening series, and it was still pretty close. Obviously, they were very, very close series. We're like, yes, this is our game. This is our year. Luckily, a flawless run from Sentinels, but still so closely contested by Fnatic. And now we're currently seeing a giant shuffle over in EU as well between some top names. But hey, for now, in this moment, North America is the current best region in Valorant, which is probably still going to piss people off because they probably still don't believe it. But I don't know if I believe it. Either way, North America wins Iceland in dramatic fashion. We'll see if the next land changes things, though. And some unfortunate news this past week that some people certainly did expect. That was with the departure of Mako months ago from 100 Thieves, the disbanding of the mob. It's a creator team now all being released by 100 Thieves. The latest three members, that being Frosty, Avalanche, alongside Classify as 100 Thieves, have now released everyone from the former mob.
I think it was good to see. We saw it coming, like we said, for a while. Once one member of the mob went away for their own personal reasons, you could kind of see all of them starting to do their own thing a little bit more, and I think they're all kind of excited to do their own thing at the same time. Like, they all loved 100 Thieves, loved the org, also loved the mob, obviously, but to see, like, now Frost can do more poker stuff and has, like, worked on that, and then we have, Classy doing his Comrade Kitten stuff, and, like, it's just cool to see them going their own ways and, like, kind of embracing more of what their individual communities are.
Yeah, I just think it's always crazy. And, there were definitely some good guys. We've had some interactions over there. Just guys who made Twitter trash talk into joining one of the biggest orgs in the world currently in 100 Thieves. That in itself is a great, great story. But clearly they all wanted to go their own separate ways. And I think they're happier doing so, which is obviously most notable. You compare it to a creator group like TST for Optic. Obviously, if one of those guys left, yeah, they might stick around for a while, but it's just not the same.
Right.
Without someone like Mako, who at the end of the day, I still think back to, Mako just got up and left. And he left what he calls the kind of plague of the social media world, which at the end of the day, he might be the biggest winner of all of these guys. But either way, 100 Thieves have now released all those guys. They're all going their separate ways. Ironically so, it comes at the same time. I think it was actually the same exact day Nadeshot got his tattoo that he released Frosty as well. Funny way to go out, but best of luck to all of those guys going forward. Some big Warzone drama happening over the past week as well. That being a Warzone hacker who actually has winnings in the esport, the game. That being America is his name, has now been exposed and caught after actually allowing players to go through his PC on live stream. We have a dedicated video if you guys want all of the extra details. Now the giant question is, we have a Warzone hacker who supposedly was exposed for, well, at the very least, he had communications back and forth on forums and with cheat providers saying, yeah, I'll definitely check it out, which is never a good way to try and have an argument that you're not a cheater lead off. It's kind of tough to assume that someone who was talking to cheat providers was eventually like, you know what, I don't want to do this, and did not follow through. But either way, now the giant lingering question is someone with over $10,000 in winnings from hacking in Warzone events. What happens to his teammates who played alongside him, and what happens to his own tournament winnings?
I'm curious. I don't know a whole lot about those sort of tournaments as far as the TOS goes for that. I
imagine there's something about cheating.
Do you think so? Like, if you're participating and then after a certain amount of time, if it becomes clear that you somehow compromise the match or something like that, do you then have to compromise all of your earnings, in that? Or do they just not put that in there because what's going to happen after they won the tournament? Maybe if it happens during the tournament and you see it, you can catch it, yes. But way after, are they able to in any legal route
like
get
go
that
after
money
it.
back.
I
Yeah.
think it comes down to Twitch if they care enough. It was a $30,000 win for trio, so $10,000 each, and then it also comes down to in your TOS or in your rules, do you have it as if the teammates did not know and then we find out after the fact that it's just that one guy? Do we just take the one guy's 10K? Do we take all of your money back? Because you imagine this is months after the fact. So to your point, you win 10 grand. How oftentimes are you not going to touch that money for what, several months afterwards? And is it fair for Twitch to come back and say, hey, you play with a cheater? I definitely would be pissed about that. I actually asked Twitter, and the overwhelming response was yes, the cheater for sure gives his money back and the teammates give their money back. I just don't see it happening with Twitch. I don't think they have the I wouldn't say wherewithal. They just don't seem like the type to even.
Why would they get involved?
Why would they rehash it? But either way, Warzone hackers continue to actually incriminate the scene. If there are any issues, there are already enough issues. The variety of issues that Warzone competitions have. Now we're finding out months later that hackers have won prize money. And one of the more controversial choices made this past week was Shahzam, still technically a teammate on the Sentinels lineup because we actually have found out that TenZ will be their 5th member. Sinatraa still making content. Yes, Shahzam being invited by Sinatraa to play a game of Valorant with him while both were live streaming in front of tens of thousands of people turned out to be a very controversial choice to make as both chats were questioning the move, some taking it as far to blame Shahzam and say he was in support of all of the things going on with Sinatraa in the investigation. It was overall a terrible thing to watch as Sinatraa later broke down on stream, removed his face cam. He eventually did come back, but that was the only game the two did play together in Valorant.
Difficult situation to watch, I'd say, especially with like watching Shahzam, because he was so frustrated because he couldn't even talk about it. He was like, I'm not even allowed to talk about this situation. And then he has this chat, constantly being, I'll say, toxic about the situation, about him going to play with Sinatraa, and he's like, I can't even talk about this how I want to. And so I don't know what that signals, but I could see the frustration.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, you see both sides. You understand why this is controversial, and you should. There are very, very serious accusations being made, claims being made. He's still suspended as a player for the remainder of 4 months, and there's still an investigation outside of Riot Games ongoing. So for me, it's really tough, and you guys might not agree. It's really tough for me to understand where Shahzam is coming from. You got to know where you're putting yourself in. I don't think he's going to make that choice any longer, so I'm glad that everyone's learning from this. It was very difficult to watch Sinatraa break down, and I think he'll be avoiding this going on. So far, we have seen he'll be doing just that. But as Shahzam, I know you're teammates and you're likely still friends. As all of this is coming out, we'll see what happens from that. But you have to know the situation you put yourself in, and I think he very well does. Yeah. And obviously with the nature of Twitch chat, it's only going to make things all the worse. I understand Shahzam was trying to play the game, just have some fun, but with how serious things are, I think it's best to avoid these kind of situations, which I think going forward they both will. So obviously tough to watch. But what did you guys think about the situation? Likely the biggest news this past week that all of you guys are hearing about. At the point of us recording, we're finding out if it's a part of a bigger deal with maybe other organizations being involved. That being Sentinels maybe having to sell other people to afford this. But yes, the biggest news this past week and probably for quite some time is a $1.25 million buyout of TenZ from Cloud9 to finally join Sentinels. So many people out there rejoicing about this one, and the Cloud9 and Jack Etienne jokes now funny because TenZ has officially left Cloud9 and joined Sentinels.
But we still haven't. I just want to hear it come out of TenZ's mouth.
I know. Yeah, at point of us recording, he has not said a single thing, which I just want to hear it come out of his mouth.
And maybe, fingers crossed for us at least. I hope that he can talk about the different situations that happened before he got signed. I think that would be so good, so much juice for us. But it is good to see it's nice that he got to play with his team that he really wanted to play with, and they won, and then he gets to keep playing with them. And so all good vibes all around. Hopefully nothing gross comes out of the situation later on. And so I'm hopeful for details. I
don't think TenZ is the kind of guy that would even speak about any spice like that. We've seen a few snippets here and there about, I don't know if I can play at Iceland. I just don't think so. And I think according to Fion, we got the $1.25 million. We'll probably talk about that at a later date, whether or not he can be worth it. For me, I'm just like, that's a lot of money, no matter who you are. But of course, if there is someone worth it, it might be a guy like TenZ. And Cloud9 did drop those jokes, and we find out a day later that, okay, that's understandable because he was bought out. But it's going to be crazy to see if he can actually recoup that, make it worth it. What did Sentinels have to sacrifice to afford that kind of thing? And yeah, very lastly, I think everyone's awaiting, is TenZ going to say anything that illustrates, because according to Fion, it was a smooth thing. This was lower than what people expected him to actually be bought out for. So we'll see if TenZ actually has anything spicy about Cloud9. Yeah, as per usual, we hope you guys all enjoyed the Respawn recap. We'll see you back here next week. Hunty, you want to show them the door?
That way.
That way. We're going to go that way. Hope you all join us, and we'll see you back here next time. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. See ya. Last one on camera.